Princess Margaret was at Clarence House. Preparations had been made there for the birth of her baby, and from early morning, pressmen were expectantly on hand. It was generally thought that the royal birth was imminent. Lenses were directed upon the window of the room where the princess lay. The changing of the guard went on as usual. Sir John Peel, chief gynaecologist at King's College Hospital, and Dr. Vernon Hall, the anaesthetist, who have both attended upon the Queen, were now on their way to Clarence House, where people excitedly waited. Telephoto lenses were trained on the official who brought out the welcome notice that the princess had been safely delivered of a son. And already the glad tidings were being flashed round the world. The Queen drove from Buckingham Palace and stayed with her sister for 20 minutes. For the whole royal family, this is a most happy event. To Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon, millions throughout the free world offer their heartiest congratulations. At Glamis Castle, seat of her mother's family, Princess Margaret was born in 1930. In our review, we see her, the second daughter of the Duke and Duchess of York, who in 1936 became King and Queen, in her childhood at Buckingham Palace, and at many stages on the way to beautiful womanhood. On the traditional visit of the royal family to Scotland in the autumn, the little princess was taken to the Highland gathering at Braemar, also to Crathy Church, the customary place of worship when the King and Queen are in residence at Balmoral. How interesting to look back to those days when the princess's sister was only 12. She herself was 10, and perhaps beginning to sense her royal destiny when she planted a tree at the Royal Naval College, Dartmouth. And her capacity for enjoying life was plainly seen at the King's camp. Other glimpses of life as lived outside the royal circle were afforded to Princess Margaret when she joined the Girl Guides. She was in the Sea Rangers and became their commodore soon after her sister came to the throne. That was only one of many duties, increasing in importance as she grew older, which she undertook for the same reason. But here, no one foresaw that only 11 years later, the King would die. At the age of 16, Princess Margaret carried out her first public engagement, visiting at St. Pancras the junior club of the Save the Children Fund. It was apparent that she had inherited her mother's kindliness and gracious manner. There was a happy scene at the palace just before Princess Elizabeth married Prince Philip. That was in '47, when Princess Margaret was 17. The Princess Elizabeth wedding group, a romantic marriage over which the whole nation shared the royal happiness. 2 years later, Princess Margaret was 19, a young and lovely woman. She went for a private holiday to Italy, as private, that is, as the excitable Italians and their pressmen allowed. She shares with her sister the love of horse jumping, and at the Rome Horse Show, the standard was high enough to please anybody. Home again, resuming the round of duties. Though engagements such as this at Taplow she has never looked upon as duties, she regards them as a blessing, that by her rank, beauty, and graciousness, she is able to give pleasure where it is so welcome, so needed. Later, when her sister had become queen, the princess visited the West Indies and then Africa. In Mombasa, Kenya, she saw the ceremony of Purdah. Tanganyika was not to be outdone by Kenya. Living the life of a royal person, which cannot be always happy any more than the life of a subject, the princess approached her 30s, and people began to think, of course, with regret, that she had decided against marriage. And then, to Royal Lodge, Windsor, the newsreels were invited to film the engagement pictures. Her Royal Highness was to marry Mr. Anthony Armstrong-Jones. The true happiness which had eluded her so long was hers at last. And what excitement there was at Covent Garden when Princess Margaret visited the Royal Opera House with her fiancé soon afterwards. And then on May the 6th last year, Westminster Abbey was crowded with those fortunate people who attended the royal wedding the country had so long desired. Her Royal Highness is now a mother, and all the Commonwealth rejoices that the princess and her husband have a baby son.